Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakudash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them, that taught us his truth. And Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. All right, so this lesson is going to be short and to the point, hopefully edifying. Basically going into the language and the trending of the word nuclear or the nuclear bombs. Who is the star, if you will, on the scene? The star on the scene right now are the missiles, okay, and the nuclear weapons. And they're being bandied about, thrown back and forth, rumor upon rumor, all right? And we've been talking about this going back, well, the elder apostles going all the way back, but now it's speaking very loud. So we're going to continue to push that vibration. Ezekiel 7:26, King James, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. And that's what we got right now, right? And very soon, they're going to come back. Well, y'all been talking about this for a while. Then shall they seek a vision of the prophet, but the law shall perish from the priests and counsel from the ancients. So, hey, the famine is coming. If you didn't get this word early and understand what we've been talking about, you might not get it at all. But and that fear, okay, the missiles are being noised abroad. All right, let's get this real quick in Zechariah. Now they understand, they're starting to pay attention, they're starting to listen. Okay, I'll read it in what is it, Berean? It always comes up like that. Zechariah 14:12, and this will be the ward against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot. Let's get it in the KJV, Salakia. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's that nuke. Okay? That is that nuke. Plain and simple. All right, so let's get some of this language. Go right here. We'll start with Chris Green, Mr. Money Guy. All right. This guy is scared, Mr. Filthy Lucre himself. AMTV yesterday, October 6th, breaking: Joe Biden just warned of what? That's huge. He had to jump on the bandwagon, right? Because the only thing that you're hearing in any news at the top of anybody's news brief is this word, okay? And I've been saying the nukes are trending. The nukes are trending. Well, it just reached an all-time high yesterday when this guy has to get involved, okay? Now, could this be a larger agenda and they're trying to stampede the people, right? Yes, it could. Okay, they could all be saying the same thing, scaring everybody into doing what they want them to do. That might be their plan on the surface, but you know that the Most High is going to, who is in control, he's going to flip it to his advantage. All right, so anyway, let's listen to the language.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, things are getting hot. So I'm out here. I was looking at real estate a few moments ago. Now I'm just walking down to the beach, and every major article and headline says that Biden.
Every major article and headline, not just what Biden said. Everybody's saying the same thing. Nuke, 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 nuke. Armageddon.
Says that Biden just warned of nuclear worldwide Armageddon as a result of what's going on in Ukraine and Vladimir Putin's non-bluff. You're coming to the forest with me. We're going to need to hunker down together, ladies and gentlemen. his non-bluff that he made just a week or so ago, where he said he's not bluffing and he would use nukes. And now Joe Biden, the president of the United States, says even if he uses tactical nukes, he doesn't see a way where they would be able to prevent total Armageddon and absolute war. This means hypersonics going to every continent. This means possibly a total wipeout. And also in the news, which is extremely disconcerting, is that the United States, for the first time, is stockpiling anti-radiation pills in the event of a nuclear strike, of a, God forbid, imminent, preeminent attack.
All right. And we could go on, and he's going to keep talking about nukes. All right. That is the talk of, it's trending, as they say. Now, let's go from there to this guy saying it. All right, we might be a little out of order, but let's check.
The stock market has had its.
All right, here we go.
Begin though this morning with President Biden making headlines here at home with that announcement.
Come on now.
Stark warning that the risk of with that announcement about marijuana convictions, and also that stark warning that the risk of nuclear Armageddon is at its highest point since the Cuban Missile Crisis nearly 60 years ago. These comments from the president come after Russian President Vladimir Putin's renewed nuclear threats have raised concerns that his plans for escalation in Ukraine may not be limited to mobilizing more troops. For more on all these major developments this morning, we're joined by NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memley. That's also something good for your Friday.
He's came here to town and he left me behind.
I know, yes. As evidenced by the traffic we were talking about in Manhattan yesterday, the president was here. We've got a lot to talk about. It's so good to see you and have you here. So first off, of course, let's start with these comments about potential nuclear action here. How serious is this? How worried is the White House? How worried should somebody this morning be seeing this headline?
So I've been covering President Biden a long time, as you know, and I've learned one thing, which is when he's speaking at a fundraiser, the reporters are in the room, but the cameras are not rolling. Pay attention, because you often get a much more unguarded President Biden. These comments certainly caught the White House by surprise. But what the president was really speaking to is an interesting dynamic now, as Ukraine is really seeing some real momentum on the battlefield. And it's creating, though, some concern in the White House that as Vladimir Putin is under more and more pressure, he's going to take potentially more radical steps. So you've seen the White House publicly in the last few weeks really ratcheting up the rhetoric, talking about the potential for catastrophic consequences should Vladimir Putin resort to nuclear weapons. What the president was saying is there's no way for Vladimir Putin to engage in a small tactical nuclear or potentially chemical attack without there being this kind of Armageddon. So I think this is really a warning both to our own intelligence community, but also especially to the Ukrainians, that we have to be very careful with how we calibrate our approach at this point, so that there might be an off-ramp. But the president himself said last night he's not sure that there is an off-ramp for Vladimir Putin. So that's part of what the end game is sort of mysterious at this point and concerning.
So two questions. One, based on what you just said, you mentioned it took the White House by surprise. What does that mean? What type of context does that put this in there at the White House this morning? And also, how do you square this concern with our continued support for Ukraine, a recently announced renewed military aid package? What does that mean?
So I actually asked the White House press secretary this the other day, which is, how do you calibrate the continued, we've seen over the last few months, right? The U.S. has only ramped up their support, providing more and more advanced weaponry to the Ukrainians. And do you have to calibrate that? Because there's always a fear of provoking the Ukrainian, of the Russians, of course. And what the White House is saying is we make no decisions without closely consulting the Ukrainians at this point. But also our intelligence, frankly, is better about Russia than it is about what sometimes Ukraine is doing on their own. And so that creates an interesting dynamic. But now the White House is obviously, I'm sure there are going to be some calls from allies and wondering what the president might have been referring to at this point. And so it's going to be creating a difficult day for the NSC, for the White House press secretary.
Well, there you go. Okay. So, as you can see, nothing is subsiding. There's going to be no peace and safety. All right? This thing is just going to continue to spiral out of control. This is redacted. One of my favorites yesterday. Putin just issued a dire warning to Zelensky about Dub 3. Okay, let's watch this. I got it about 5 minutes in, so.
What Vladimir Zelensky just issued a statement basically saying NATO needs to strike preemptively now inside of Russia. I mean, now the cat's out of the bag. It's not us. NATO needs to attack Russia inside Russia. And oh, by the way, yes, go ahead and use nuclear weapons.
You hear that? Zelensky from the Ukraine is saying NATO needs to do a preemptive strike to use a nuke before or to stop Vlad from using it. Do you hear this nonsense, this xenophobia? Oh, well, we got to nuke you before you nuke us so that you won't nuke us. What the hell? This is proof positive that the Most High got this devil in a trick bag. Understand what he's saying. Zelensky is calling for NATO, right, and the EU to nuke Vladimir before Vladimir nukes them. Okay?
This is Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Watch.
Що повинно робити НАТО? Унеможливлювати застосування Росією ядерної зброї. Але, що важливо, я ще раз звертаюсь до міжнародної спільноти. Як це було до 24-го? Превентивні удари, щоб вони знали, що з ними буде.
Do you see that? We need to launch a preemptive nuclear strike so that they know what will happen to them if they use it. What fucking sense does that make? The Most High got this thing on lock right now, and not vice versa. These guys are in derision. Okay? The devil is fighting himself right now. How can his kingdom stand?
Якщо вони застосують, а не навпаки, чекати ядерних ударів.
We need to eliminate the possibility that Russia will use nuclear strikes in case. But what do you mean? How do you eliminate the possibility that Russia will use nuclear strikes when Russia has more nukes than you do, than anybody else? Not just Russia, but China. You got North Korea waiting, all waiting to use their nukes. How do you stop Russia from using any nukes by nuking them? The Most High got this fool in derision. Okay?
Щоб потім сказати, ах, ти так, ну ось тримай від нас. Переглянути застосування свого тиску. Ось я вважаю, що повинна робити НАТО.
Let's listen to what Clayton says as a response.
Глянути порядок застосування.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Okay. Salakia, I want to hear what he says as a response. I haven't heard this yet, so let's see what he says.
Okay.
Okay, maybe the translation's off because that logic was completely flawed. He's saying we need to strike so that Putin doesn't think, oh, you want it that way, then we're going to. That's exactly what he said. Oh, you want it that way, then we'll strike.
He
Do you
said,
see the flaw in this logic?
Yeah, I mean, there's other reports of him. You can, and if we have any Ukrainian viewers who can study that themselves. But here's another take on this, which is this news piece: NATO must make it impossible for Russia to use nuclear weapons, according to Zelensky. President Zelensky believes that NATO should make it impossible for Russia to use nuclear weapons. Preemptive strikes are needed so that they know what awaits them if they use nuclear weapons. So preemptive strikes are needed. So we need to attack inside Russia using NATO forces.
He's calling for the death of civilians here.
Yes.
Millions, right?
Yes.
And because then that would launch a domino effect of retaliation. So he doesn't mind killing Russian civilians,
No.
and he also doesn't mind the retaliation on Western civilians.
That is Satan versus Satan. Okay, so that's enough. Let me get in derision. Let's get that. Okay, because this is just, let's see. Let's see. Oh, let me see. Let's see. Hold on. This search thing is kind of janky. That's it. Let me see. Moab. Slovakia, let me try to get it on my phone. Probably need a better search engine than that one. Always lets me down. Slovakia, bear with me for a moment. Let me get this and then I'll close. Okay. Psalm 2. Let's get that. See, I don't know why it doesn't come up. Okay, so, and we'll start at the top. Psalm 2 and 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Because at the top, I mean, this could all be a ploy, right? To bring in the NWO. But again, the Most High at the top is running this thing. The kings of the earth, Zelensky, Putin, Biden, set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He, here's the point, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Okay? What does that mean? The Lord shall have them in derision. Okay? The Lord scoffs at them. He holds them in derision. He taunts them, scoffs at them, mocks them. In supreme contempt. And in supreme contempt, he mocks them. He's mocking them. Shall make fun. He mocks their feeble plan. He's got them drunk. Okay? Look, this is laughable. Okay? This is laughable. What this guy is saying, she couldn't believe her ears. She's like, what is he saying? It makes absolutely no sense. Okay? Look up this word, derision. Let's see. Let's look up this word, derision, real quick. Contemptuous ridicule or mockery. In disbelief. Like, he's mocking them. Look at what they're thinking. Okay? This is laughable. This logic is completely laughable. All right? Where'd that go? Derision. Let's see. The Most High has got them looking crazy. Right here. Derision is more than just making fun of someone. It's mocking someone so forcefully and with such venom that you discredit the person completely. Okay? Embarrassing. It said, you know how celebrities and politicians do embarrassing things from time to time? This is embarrassing. And that's what she said. She's like, watch her response.
Переглянути застосування свого тиску. Ось я вважаю, що повинна робити.
Come on. Oh, shoot. Yeah, the devil's fighting hard with your lies. Your lies are done, devil. What the Bible do.
НАТО. Переглянути порядок застосування.
Watch her response.
Okay.
Okay, maybe the translation's off because that logic was completely flawed. He's saying we need to strike so that Putin.
She's like, this nigga's a clown. All right, so that's it. Let's see. Mock and laugh. Let's get that on the way out. Most High is making a buffoon out of these. Let's get. I will mock. Because they're scared. All right? They're scared. Now they're threatening and rumoring each other. Proverbs 1 and 26. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. Okay? Let me go on from there. 26, let's go to 27. Because it speaks of the missiles. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. When distress and anguish cometh upon you. Okay? Here's the, you're looking at his end. The Most High said, I got your end. You done made these nukes, now you're pointing them at each other. Satan. Satan. Let's get it here. Luke 11 and 18. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because ye say, cast out devils in, through Beelzebub. Okay? Satan is clearly against Satan. How shall his kingdom stand? These are all Edomites threatening each other with their nukes. Negroes ain't got no nukes. Satan's got them. What do they call their nukes? They call them Satan. Satan 2. All right? So anyway, hey, this thing is going down. Prepare yourselves. Akim, Akwath. All right? With that, we hope that the elect were edified. You brothers and few sisters, shalom.